So Sunraku solos a Wethermon level boss fight all by himself. His words, not mine. Do I agree with that statement? Not really. There's no denying that he got 20 freaking levels from defeating said Golden Scorpion. But Wethermon level, in the ballpark, but not anywhere close to being that extreme. We need 3 people, and that was a fight that we shouldn't have won to begin with. There's no denying this was arguably one of his strongest and most intense battles yet. The Wethermon level, I think there's a lot of similarities, and it points to the fact that the moon is actually quite a big factor to the game mechanics. But either way, whether or not it actually was Wethermon level or not, or Sunraku was just saying it in the heat of the moment, the dude just soloed something that was insane. And I don't want to hear any goddamn complaints that there was 3D in the episode. Was it more noticeable in the gold tinge versus the blue scorpions? I would argue so. But here's the thing about this show, is that I think one of the things that really separates Shangri-La is that when there is certain things that are 3D in the environment, I mean, we've already seen 3D scorpions in season 1. There shouldn't be some big surprise to anyone. I'm sure there'll be some people, but you get my point. There's so many times that if you've seen enough anime, typically when things do have to go 3D, the character model as well will also be 3D. I don't think there was a single moment, and I was really paying attention even to the wider shots. Sunraku's character model was always 2D. And that's what I think helped keep it feel not like a jarring distraction, but rather, yeah, this weird giant crystal-like scorpion. Understandable why that's 3D, but at least Sunraku's interacting as a 2D hand-drawn character, and it just kept it looking amazing with one of the craziest episodes. And hell, they even brought back SLF Theater. We haven't had that in a couple of weeks, and that was pretty damn cute. I have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full good thought to any of these episodes, you know it's over there exclusively. So, on the topic of SLF Theater, I still haven't recovered from Sunraku tossing a mule into the pack of wolves, aka that goddamn clan who is way too fascinated by bunnies. The worst part about SLF Theater is when he starts thinking, I wonder what she does when I'm away. In season 1, there was an SLF Theater that does show what happens. She, just sleeps. She, powers down next to Sunraku, typically. But Sunraku imagines, what if she, cleans and washes his face, basically does a wife-like level duties. Just takes care of him, loves him, nurtures him. And I'm thinking to myself, the fact that he's willing to believe that this NPC could have that much loving connection to him, and he still tossed her to the pack of wolves, is the most unforgivable thing I've ever seen. I probably will never get over that, but that was just cruel. Now, this was just one big-ass boss fight, and like I said, he got 20 levels from that. I was thinking maybe 5, but 20 levels. So what I thought was happening at first when he came out of Inventoria and there was no XP, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be a case of the game doesn't recognize as him doing it. Because depending on how the game handles EXP, you might physically have to collect something to get EXP. And it might not even be something that you actually see. It could be an invisible EXP kind of coming into the character. And if they fell off and despawned, I mean, the game's not going to recognize the player as the one who killed it. Seen it plenty of times in video games. Like Sunraku, I have cheesed enemies to kill themselves. I mean, there's a lot of boss fights that you can do things to make them fall to their death. But typically, yes, you do get the EXP because the game, wants you to have it. It's like, oh, if this thing's been defeated, then you get it. But when that actually happened was we got into a unique boss fight, which was the Golden Scorpion. And this thing hit hard. The positive was that it wasn't completely coated in armor, so there was a lot of cracks underneath the shell, which gave it more speed. The thing is anytime he did damage to it, it would just jump away, pray to the moon, and it would be healed 100%. And the issue about, Sunraku in this case, is that in Shangri-La Frontier, weapons have durability, meaning you can't just cheese this thing for 5 hours straight. If you do so, you're just going to waste your weapon durability, if not potentially destroy it. Luckily, he puts away the Bee Stinger sword, so, he can get that repaired in theory, but, it's very easy in the heat of the moment. Look at the very end of the episode when the tail's coming down. He might have had to use that, break that, never get it back. It's just a lot of things like that. He did, before the fight even ended, he ended up getting one of the items, the big claw. He put it in Inventoria, which was smart. The thing he should have done is, as soon as he came out of Inventoria, he's like, yep, it's all done. He should have just grabbed whatever was on the ground and tossed it, because you never know if he was going to make it out alive. And I honestly doubted Sunraku. I thought he was going to die. Not once, but twice throughout this fight. I was like, oh, this is definitely game over. I was thinking he might try to do the same physic-like thing that he did against the Horde. I wasn't sure what he was going to do. The only things that were making sense to me was that he has to wait out the moon. So if it's not a full moon or something, if he waits till the clouds kind of cover the moonlight, maybe that's when he can do it. There's a lot of different ways they could have went about this fight, but in general, once again, this feels like watching a video game. It feels like something that actually is a god tier video game that's intelligent, and I think a concept like Inventoria is a great example of why the mechanics work so well in this game. It's not a mechanic that everyone has access to, obviously, and it's not something that he can abuse either. Inventoria basically works as a pause menu in a single player video game. You can go in there, rest, recharge, come back to the boss fight. But it does cost mana, and he can't, like, he used it 4 times maybe throughout the course of this whole Scorpion ordeal. It's a decent amount, doesn't change the fact that he can't abuse it. So he can't just be like, okay, what am I going to do now? Like, he has to use it at the appropriate moments, and as we saw at the very end, he almost died because he didn't have one last Inventoria left. Did he do amazing and basically rodeo ride that thing? Yes, but you can see how Inventoria is not a cheat code to, you know, do everything the way it is. It is interesting though, because Sunraku is starting to probably realize something that no one else has, which is the connection to the moon is a lot deeper than just a single boss fight. It could be a bigger plot point that no one actually knows about as it stands, because there is a story to this game, right? The way the NPCs and the different boss fights open up, and maybe the moon is something that's going to be the trigger to unlocking all of the quest starts for all of the unique boss fights. Like I said though at the start, I disagree that it was Wethermon level. It was Wethermon light. If Wethermon's up here in terms of combat detail, the Scorpion is here, but the Scorpion is still above a lot of other things they're going to fight in this world. And I think there was a lot of similarities to Wethermon. It's just, you know, Sunraku claiming it's that crazy. It's like, you know what, give the boy the W. He did get some legendary shit out of it, and the big question is what he'll make out of it. Is it going to be something that we'll get, because in the opening he does have some new shit like the new gauntlets and stuff. Are the claws going to be used to make that? I don't know. Either way, Shangri-La is great. I do think the 3D was more noticeable than other episodes, but it looked good in my opinion. Sometimes it was more distracting, but it never looked like abysmal, and I always was like, I understand why that has to be 3D. I do. Like, we're in a giant, like, this area, it makes total sense, and the fact that they kept Sunraku himself hand-drawn in the midst of all that, I really like this production, and I really like this studio. Thoughts down below, what did you think of this fight, and did you think he was going to win it? Because I definitely did not. Thoughts down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Ava91, Nebson 10, Ikano, Kristen Navidad, Ricardo, Kenjiro Tabashi, we also have Stinamore. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.